Hey guys, tonight we're crawling into a damp, straw-filled corner of the medieval world, right where sleep gets slippery and dreams start talking back. You're about to drift into a world where no one had ever heard the word subconscious, but everyone with certain dreams could predict famine, betrayal, or divine judgment. The sky is hissing outside. Rain taps the shingles with the persistent rhythm of something trying to get in. Smells like wet wool and cold ash. Inside, your blanket is rough like burlap, your stomach half full of whatever passed for soup, and your mind uneasy. There's a story people whisper around nights like this, when the air hangs heavy with mist. They say a dream once stopped a war, another summoned a plague. You're going to need your wits for this one, and probably a little luck too. Because if you dreamed the wrong thing in the Middle Ages, you might wake up in shackles. Or worse, in confession. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're watching from, and what time it is. I want to see how far this dream spreads. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. You don't remember falling asleep. Exactly. It just happened. You'd been walking through the market late, too late. The cobblestones were wet, the stalls closed. You remember the feeling of fatigue, that soft pull behind your eyes. Then silence. And now here you are. You're standing in a field of scorched grass, under a sky too low and too red. Something has burned here, but you feel no heat, only wind. Strong, directionless wind, curling your cloak like invisible fingers. You're dreaming, of course, but not in the way you know dreams now. In this world, everyone dreams like this. You don't question where you are or how. You feel the dream has come to you, not from you. A figure appears, hooded, silent. They don't speak, but you understand. There's a storm coming, a war. Someone will die tonight. The dream is clear, sharp, and vivid like stained glass. It will not be forgotten by morning. This is a visio, what medieval scholars considered the most powerful form of dream. Not nonsense, not memory's echo, but a message. In the real world, dreams like this could elevate a farmer into sainthood, or plunge a merchant into heresy. Dreamers could be summoned to court, questioned by monks, or paraded as prophets through village streets. And tonight, in this dream, you're seeing the future, or so they would believe. Back in your medieval bed, a monk 3 rooms over is waking with a jolt. He dreamed the same thing. He'll tell the abbot in the morning. So will you. By noon, the village will murmur about the coincidence. By dusk, someone will swear they saw the storm cloud forming already. This was common. Many believed that God, or worse, the devil, used dreams to communicate with the living. Sometimes gently, sometimes like a hammer to the head. And this belief wasn't just held by common folk. Entire royal councils had been paused due to a bad dream. Armies delayed their march. Marriages cancelled. Take, for example, the tale of a knight from Burgundy who refused to fight in a planned siege because he dreamed his horse drowned in fire. The dream was dismissed. He rode into battle anyway. A week later, he was found in a collapsed tower, burned, still in the saddle. Coincidence? Maybe. But in a world where few could read, and fewer still had access to scripture, dreams became a kind of divine script. Fluid, terrifying, and deeply personal. Interpretation was everything. And that's where it gets slippery, because not all dreams were trusted equally. Medieval thinkers divided them into 3 types: somnium, ordinary, vague; visio, prophetic or divine; and insomnium, nightmare, anxiety-induced, often useless. But who decided what dream you had? If your dream aligned with church doctrine, like angels warning you about sin, it was a visio, a sign. If your dream showed a talking goat asking for your finger, that was a demonic delusion, possibly heresy. If you dreamt about flying over a field of singing turnips, well, then you probably just ate too much cabbage. Some monks kept dream journals, comparing symbols over time. Entire volumes were written cataloging the meanings of dream elements. Snakes equals treachery, water equals purification, stairs equals ascent to heaven. Unless, of course, the snake talked, then it meant the devil. And if the water was boiling, well, purgatory. Stairs made of meat? Don't ask. There were even dream clerics, often young monks tasked with interpreting the dreams of older brothers in the abbey. One was famous for always starting with the phrase, "Perhaps God is testing your digestion." He didn't last long, but as you shift in your medieval bed, feet wrapped in rough linen, breath fogging in the cold air, you remember something strange. This dream you just had, you've had it before. Not once, but 3 times this winter. Always the same. The scorched field, the figure in the wind, the sense of foreboding. Someone once told you that dreams that repeat 3 times carry the weight of truth. You don't know who said it. Probably a baker or a nun. But now, as thunder rolls in the distance and you feel your own dream fading, you swear you can still smell the ash. And outside your shuttered window, somewhere in the wet dark, the storm begins to gather. The storm arrived by dawn. You wake to the low drum of rain on the wooden beams above you. It's not gentle. It's persistent, like fingers tapping just above your head, never letting you forget what you dreamed. You blink slowly. The dream is gone, mostly, but the figure remains, just behind your eyes, like a shape seen through smoke. And so, you do what any medieval person might do when faced with a dream that lingers too long. You get up, dress in the dark, and head to the chapel. Not to pray, though maybe that too, but to talk. Because in the Middle Ages, a dream was never just your business. You find Brother Martin already kneeling, eyes closed, lips twitching like he's debating whether to whisper a prayer or confess a murder. His hood droops forward, heavy with damp. You sit beside him silently, your knees pressing into the cold stone floor, and when he finally looks over, you see it. Recognition. He's had it too. You ask him, in the quietest breath, "The man in the wind?" He nods. Once. Slow. Outside, the bells begin to ring for prime. Inside, you and Brother Martin sit with the weight of something too big for either of you. You don't say another word. But later that day, you hear someone else had the same dream. And someone else after that. By evening, the abbot declares a day of fasting. The storm isn't just weather now. It's a sign. Dreams like this had power. And nowhere was that power felt more sharply than among the kings. Let me take you to a royal bedchamber. Not yours, of course, you barely have a mattress. But up in a castle thick with incense and velvet and a suspicious number of carved lions, a king is sweating in his sheets. His name doesn't matter. Pick one, any Louis or Henry or Edward will do. But tonight he dreams of a wolf eating his crown. He wakes gasping, not from fear, but from clarity. He knows what the dream means. He's going to die. Now, in our world, we'd probably roll over and blame the spicy boar stew. But in his world, he rings a bell. Within the hour, the castle's honorologus, the royal dream interpreter, is summoned. Yes, that was an actual role. Often a monk, sometimes a scribe, occasionally an annoying cousin with a flair for drama. Their job? To make sense of the absurd. And more importantly, to not say anything that might upset the king too much. The dream is written down in Latin, translated again into French, then quietly passed through a dozen layers of interpretation like a game of theological telephone. Maybe the wolf means rebellion. Maybe the crown means power passing to a son. Or maybe, if you're especially clever and ambitious, the dream means that the king should move the court to your favorite city and grant you a vineyard. Dreams were tools, weapons even. In royal courts, they were manipulated like rumors or forged documents. A favorable dream could win you land. A dark one could justify war, or prevent it entirely. There's a story, one whispered, one historians still argue about, in which a king postponed his coronation after dreaming that the oil used to anoint him was poisoned. The ceremony was rescheduled, and the first oil batch, missing. The second, delayed by a week. The third finally arrived from a distant monastery, and the monk who carried it died mysteriously the next day. Coincidence, you say, so did everyone else, until it happened again. But not all dreams came to kings. Some came to you, not the you in the castle, the you on the floor, on straw, wrapped in a damp cloak, listening to rain crackle in a corner of the roof. You, the baker's apprentice. You, the washerwoman. You, the man with nothing but calluses and a stubborn sense that someone, somewhere, might be watching you sleep. And when you dreamed, your world shifted too. Let's say you dreamed of fire, not the comforting kind, no hearth, no candle, but a wild, licking, all-consuming blaze. You tell your neighbor, he tells his wife, she tells the priest. By morning, someone accuses someone else of hiding dry wood near the chapel. Dreams could ruin lives, and they could save them too. There's a village, not far from where your feet first touched dirt, that speaks of an old man named Piers. He dreamed, one night, of a flood. In the dream, fish swam through his windows, and his wife was holding her apron like a boat. Ridiculous, right? Except he woke up and told the others, convinced them to move the livestock to the hilltop. 3 days later, the river overran its banks. The church was flooded. The livestock were safe. They called him Piers the Waking, a strange honor but a lasting one. You stretch, sore from sleep. The chapel floor is cold. The wind has died down now. You can hear the clink of pots in the kitchen. Life moves on, but Brother Martin still watches you carefully, as if he's trying to decide whether your dream means something for him too. And it might. That's the unsettling thing. Because in the Middle Ages, dreams were never solitary. Even if you didn't tell a soul, the dream could leak out. Through your behavior, through signs, through whispers in the candlelit corridors. Some said that dreams came from God, others from demons. Still others claimed they rose from the balance or imbalance of the four humors in your body. Yes, humors. You remember, blood, black bile, yellow bile, and phlegm. The medieval explanation for everything from hiccups to homicide. Too much black bile? Expect nightmares. Too little phlegm? Prepare for sleep paralysis. Dreamed of birds? Might just be your spleen misbehaving. Science. And yet, amid all the nonsense, some dreams really did seem to hold weight. Repeated symbols, shared visions, dreams that mapped onto real events too closely to ignore. There's a document, hidden in a half-burned archive, that recounts the tale of 4 villagers who all dreamed of a black-cloaked rider the night before a nobleman was poisoned. None of them knew each other. None of them spoke of it until later. But the rider was identical in every telling. The church called it coincidence. The peasants called it proof. Historians still call it unverified. You, however, you're starting to wonder. It's night again. That fast. Time bends strangely when dreams blur into memory. You lie back onto the straw, listening to the same wind as before. Or maybe not the same. It sounds different now. Hungrier. You close your eyes. You wonder, half drowsing, whether you'll see the field again. The scorched grass. The figure. But this time you don't. You see fire. And this time it's not just in the dream. There's shouting outside. Someone yells, "The granary's lit," and the smoke that curls into your nostrils as you bolt upright is not imagined. Brother Martin is already at the door, robe flying behind him. He looks back once, eyes wide, not with fear, but with certainty. He knew. You knew. Everyone dreamed it. No one stopped it. Ash still clings to your skin when you wake the next morning. It's in your hair, your sleeves, the crease of your neck. You swear you can taste it. The granary smolders on the hill like a giant's burnt tooth, still hissing quietly in the rain. No one died. Not this time. But the fire spread fast. Too fast for a single torch or careless lantern. The villagers are whispering already. Not about arson. Not about lightning. But about the dreams. You're not the only one who dreamed it. By now, at least 7 others have come forward. All saw flames. All heard a name. Sometimes whispered, sometimes screamed. Different names. But one keeps surfacing. Martin. Brother Martin is gone. Vanished before dawn. Took nothing. Left no trace but a pair of sandals by the chapel door and a half-burned parchment in his cell. You saw it yourself, a drawing of the field. The same scorched one from your dream, with a single word scrawled underneath. Ignis. Fire. In the medieval mind, this is not coincidence. This is prophecy. But it's also dangerous, because if dreams can predict disaster, then they can be blamed for it too. And so we come to one of the strangest corners of medieval dream belief. The dream manuals. Yes, they were real. Written mostly by monks with far too much time and not enough supervision. These dusty, leather-bound volumes catalog dream symbols with all the confidence of someone absolutely sure that dreaming of a pig meant your cousin was unfaithful. They were called Somnial Danielis, the dream book of Daniel. Named after the biblical prophet, of course. There were dozens of versions, each slightly different, depending on the monastery or the scholar. You've seen one, haven't you? You remember, tucked in the library under lock and key, brittle pages full of pictures and Latin annotations. You weren't supposed to touch it. Naturally, you read the whole thing. According to Daniel, to dream of bread means prosperity. Unless the bread is burnt, then it means shame. Dreaming of dogs means loyalty, unless the dog is black, in which case it means death. Cats? Always treachery, especially if they speak French. One entry reads, "If thou dreamest of a falling tooth, beware thy kin, blood shall be spilt." Another says, "To see a staircase without end is to be caught between sin and grace, like a sparrow in a bell tower." Even more confusing, the same symbol could mean different things depending on which night you dreamed it. Sunday dreams were thought to come from God. Monday dreams from the moon, and everyone agreed. If you dreamed on a Friday night, you'd best keep it to yourself. Now here's something odd. Some of these interpretations actually worked. Or rather, they worked because people believed they worked. Self-fulfilling prophecy. A dream says your horse will die. You treat your horse more cautiously. Your horse lives. Miracle. But sometimes that belief turns sour. Imagine this. A woman dreams of her husband being attacked by wolves. She panics, tells him not to go to market. He scoffs, goes anyway. On the road, he's ambushed. By men, not wolves. But the damage is done. The dream was right. People begin to look at her sideways. Some say she caused it. Others say she saw it because she was cursed. Either way, she's the reason he's dead now. The line between dreamer and witch was razor thin. You may scoff, but ask any villager from 1342 what they'd rather be accused of. Thievery or dreaming of the wrong thing. You'll see how deep the fear ran. Because dreams were personal but also public. There's a story told in the southern villages, where the rivers run thick with clay and the fog doesn't lift until noon. A girl, barely 15, started dreaming of birds. Hundreds of them, bursting from her mouth every night. Her mother said nothing, but then she dreamed of a fire. 3 nights in a row. She told the priest. He laughed. The church burned down that week. No one laughed after that. The girl was questioned, examined, prodded. They found no proof of witchcraft, only more dreams. The last thing she told anyone was that she saw a man made of smoke walking into the well. And then she was gone. No trial, no procession, just gone. Some say she ran. Others say the ground took her. The dreams kept happening anyway. You blink in the sunlight now, the smoke of the granary still staining the sky. Villagers are sweeping ash from doorsteps. Children play near the edge of the woods, oblivious. You watch them, tired, your mind echoing with last night's dream. Changed again. No longer fire, now water, rising slow and cold. You were waist deep in it before you even realized. And something was swimming toward you. But when you turned, there was no monster. Only Martin, standing on the water like a saint. Or a warning. He said nothing, but he held up one hand. And there, burned into his palm, was the symbol from the dream manual. A spiral of thorns. You woke gasping, this time not from smoke, but from something deeper. Like your body had remembered something your brain couldn't name. That afternoon, the abbot calls a gathering. He says the dreams are spreading. He says they must stop. He says anyone who speaks of dreams outside confession will be punished. People nod, obey, cross themselves. But that night, the dreams are worse. You hear voices in your sleep. You feel them in the walls. The spiral appears again, this time carved into your wooden bowl. You check the chapel. Empty. The sandals are gone. And on the altar lies a piece of parchment, folded once. You open it slowly. It says, "What is dreamed by many will not stay buried." You don't sleep again that night, but when dawn comes, you still dream. And this time, you are not alone. You've stopped trusting the sky. It's too still tonight, not peaceful, silent, as if the wind itself has gone into hiding, afraid of what it might carry. You lie on your straw mat, every bone aware of itself. Every sound, if there were any, would startle you, but there aren't any. Even the mice seem to be holding their breath. You try to sleep, but your body resists. It's no longer just about rest. It's a kind of dread. The moment your eyes close, you know the dream will return. And it does, but not how you expect. This time, you're standing beneath the chapel, in the crypt, a place you haven't seen in waking life. But somehow, in the dream, you know where every stone leads. You walk with familiarity you didn't earn. There's a table, a book, and something else shifting in the shadows, watching you but not with malice, with recognition. You reach for the book. It breathes. You wake up clawing at your blanket, gasping like you've been held underwater. Someone knocks on your door. Not once, not hurried, just a single knock. You wait. Nothing follows. No one's there. But when you step outside, barefoot, you find a scrap of parchment on the threshold, smeared with ash, damp from dew. A single line, written in that same hand you saw on the altar 2 nights ago. Open what you've never seen, and you'll find what you've always known. Your stomach twists. That sentence, it's not just eerie. It's familiar. It's a phrase from a dream manual. You slip into the library while the others sleep. The torches are low. The door creaks, but no one stirs. You find the shelf in the back, third from the bottom, hidden behind a chipped wooden Virgin Mary with one eye missing. That statue always creeped you out. You pull the volume from the shelf with both hands. The Somnial Danielis, bound in cracked leather. It smells like beeswax and secrets. Inside, the same phrase, "Open what you've never seen." It's not listed under a dream. It's written in the margin beside one. A dream of a faceless monk opening a door in the ground. The interpretation? Revelation shall come to the humble through closed things. And below that, warn them, warn the dreamers. When the dreams begin to speak for themselves, they must not be trusted. You stare at the page so long your eyes blur. The room tilts around you. The shadows seem to lean closer. You close the book. It doesn't help, because when you turn to leave, the statue is gone. The one-eyed Virgin Mary that's guarded this shelf for years. No crash, no sound, just gone. But there, in its place, another parchment, folded, the spiral of thorns again. But this time it's not drawn. It's branded into the parchment, burned through. You can see the table beneath. And there's a second sentence now. The dream is learning. Back in your room, you can't breathe. You try to sleep sitting up, but it's no use. The moment your head dips, you're back. The crypt again. But now it's full. Rows of monks, standing in silence. Hoods up. No faces. Just outlines of breath in cold air. The book is open on the altar. You approach. They do not stop you. You read. The pages turn themselves. Symbols, strange alphabets, images you don't recognize. A lion with a human face. A ladder leading down instead of up. A mouth stitched shut with golden thread. Then one word appears. Not written. Spoken. Inside your head. You don't know the language, but your heart races like it understands. You wake again. This time screaming. You're not alone. A dozen others in the monastery have woken too. All the same way. And all of them, every single one, has blood at the corner of their mouth, like they bit their tongues in terror. You check yours. Same. The abbot is furious. He blames the dreams. The fasting didn't work. The prayers haven't helped. Something is wrong. And now the monastery is whispering about infection. Not of the body, but of the mind. That the dreams themselves are spreading. Not passed by air or touch, but by hearing. Someone says Martin started it. Someone else says Martin was just a conduit. Someone says he's still here, buried in the crypt. The abbot sends 2 monks to check. They don't return. No one volunteers to go after them. You watch from a distance as the chapel doors are barred. The spiral appears again, this time on the bell rope. Burned deep. That night, no bells ring, and the dreams come stronger. In your next dream, the field returns. Scorched, endless, but now inhabited. Figures walk through it like they're tracing paths only they can see. Each one is holding something. One carries a severed tongue. Another holds a fish made of smoke. One drags a mirror too heavy for his hands. They do not look at you, but they speak. Together. Not in unison, but in rhythm. And the words are not your language. You know they're not Latin. Not French. Not even something spoken anymore. But you understand them. Somewhere in your bones. The dream is remembering. The dream is growing. The dream is not yours alone. You wake with your hand clenched. There's something in it. You open your fingers. It's a tooth. Not yours. Still warm. By now, even the skeptics are silent. The dreams have become ritual. No longer random or personal or occasional. Every sleeper in the monastery dreams. Even the ones who used to sleep like stones. Some dream of fire, others of mirrors, some of birds, screaming without mouths. But you keep returning to the crypt. And each time, there are more pages in the book. Pages you remember, though you've never read them. Pages that speak when touched. You don't tell anyone. Not yet, because you have a feeling the dream isn't done with you. Not even close. You've started sleeping in shifts. Not by choice. Sleep no longer comes gently. It arrives like a summons. Not the kind you can ignore. The dreams don't ask anymore, they pull. And you're not the only one afraid. The whole monastery has begun to unravel at the seams. Meals are silent now. No one mentions food, or dreams, or Martin. There are no more sermons. The abbot has locked himself in his quarters and hasn't been seen in 2 days. Someone tried to ring the chapel bell this morning. The rope snapped in their hands, and underneath the frayed edge, they found something new. A hand-drawn spiral different from the last, inverted. This one curls outward. Someone muttered that it means the dream is escaping. No one laughed. You try to distract yourself with work. You scrub floors. You polish candlesticks until you can almost see your reflection. You stack wood, though the fire hasn't been lit in days. But nothing helps, because you've been keeping a secret. You lied about last night's dream. You told them it was smoke and birds again. Harmless, symbolic, but that's not what you saw. You were inside the crypt again, yes, but this time the book was missing. In its place was something else. A door. It had no handle, no hinges, just a flat stone slab in the ground, carved with that same spiral, this one spinning inward. A dark eye, a drain, a mouth about to open. You felt your dream self reach for it. And then you woke up, not in your bed, but in the hallway, face down on the cold stone floor, your hand outstretched toward the cellar door. And when you looked down at your palm, the spiral was there, not drawn, not burned, raised, like a scar you'd had for years and just never noticed. That morning, 2 monks leave the monastery, just walk out through the fog. They say nothing. They don't pack. They don't bless themselves at the gate. They walk like sleepwalkers. Someone tries to stop them, grabs one by the sleeve. He turns, and he smiles. That's all. No words, no fight, just that smile, a little too wide, and he walks on. They disappear down the road and don't come back. You think about following them. You think about joining them. But something tells you not yet. There's more to learn. You finally return to the library, not because you want to, because the dream tells you to. You don't remember waking up, or walking, or opening the door. You're just there, holding the somnial Danielis again. But now something's different. The book is writing itself, right in front of you. Words spill across the page like spilled ink, except you can read them and you shouldn't be able to. They're in a script older than Latin, older than Greek, and yet you understand. It says, you were not meant to remember, but you remembered anyway. And now the dream must finish itself. The pages turn without your touch. You see images now, drawn in black charcoal. A tower without windows. A man with no shadow. A chalice filled with teeth. And then, on the final page, your name, written perfectly. Below it, another name, Martin. And below that, one more word, etched deep enough to cut the page. Beneath, that night you dream of nothing, just black, a black so complete it feels like a place. And in that place you hear a voice, not words but pressure, like a hand pushing on your chest from the inside. You wake gasping, but not in your bed. You're in the crypt, the real crypt. You recognize the walls, the chill, the smell of old earth. The book is gone. But the door, the one from the dream, it's there now, right where the altar should be. And this time it has opened. Only a crack, but enough. You see light, and it's not firelight. Pulses like something alive, like breath. You lean closer. It doesn't smell like anything. It doesn't feel cold or warm. It just is. A dream you've had before. A dream that was never yours. Footsteps above you. You freeze. Someone's coming. You press yourself against the crypt wall, heart hammering. A face appears at the top of the stairs. It's not Martin. It's someone older. The abbot. He looks wrong. Thinner. Grayer. Like he hasn't slept in weeks. But when he sees you, he doesn't ask questions. doesn't scold. He simply walks past you, down the stairs, toward the door. He kneels. He whispers a word you don't hear, and the door opens wider. And then he vanishes. Not walks through, vanishes. No sound, no light, just gone. The door closes again, slow, gentle, and locks. You're alone, but not really. You feel it. The dream is still here, still breathing, still watching, and you understand something you didn't before. It's not that the dream came to you, it's that the dream came through you, and it's not finished yet, not even close. You stay in the crypt until the morning bells, though they don't ring anymore. Above, the monastery is shifting. You can feel it through the floor. Movements muffled by layers of stone, footsteps light and cautious, as if everyone else now walks like you. Half awake, half afraid, trying not to disturb the thing that has taken up residence in their sleep. The abbot hasn't returned. You don't tell anyone what happened. No one asks. Everyone knows something has changed, but no one wants to name it. In the Middle Ages, names carry weight. To name something is to bind it. And this thing? It has no name. Not yet. You return to your cell. Feels different now. Smaller. The walls closer. The air thinner. Your bed, such as it is cold and damp, and when you lie down, you feel something hard beneath the straw. You dig with your fingers, pulling out a small, flat object. It's a tile, made of clay, smooth, circular, and on one side, pressed into the surface, the spiral, not the old one, not the inward, not the outward. A third spiral, curls both ways. You blink, and for a moment, just a breath, you swear it's moving. You close your eyes, and the dreams begin again. You're not in the crypt. You're in the field. Again. But the field is alive now, heaving, pulsing, like it's breathing. The grass has turned black. The sky is a deep copper. And there, in the middle of it all, is a tree. You've never seen it before. It's massive. Wrong. Its branches reach down instead of up. Its roots burst from the sky, and hanging from the lowest limb is a bell. No rope, just the bell gently swaying. It rings once, and the sound doesn't go out. It goes in. You feel it in your bones, in your teeth, in the tile. And in that instant, everything in the dream stops moving. The wind freezes, the sky stills, and the ground opens. Just a crack, just enough. You see faces, dozens, hundreds, pressing up from beneath the soil. Not decayed, not dead. Dreamers. You know them. You've seen them. Some are monks from your own abbey. Some you've never met. Some are you. Dozens of you, staring up with open eyes, mouths just beginning to whisper. The same sentence again and again. The dream remembers. The dream remembers. The dream remembers. You wake with your hands over your ears, and still you hear it. The voice is not gone. It followed you. By midday, another monk disappears. This one was silent, devout, never questioned, never dreamed until 3 nights ago. He told someone he saw a door made of feathers, and then he was gone. They found his robe folded neatly on the steps of the chapel, and on top of it, another tile. Same spiral, different material. This one was made of bone. You can't eat. No one can. The kitchens are quiet. The fields go untended. The chickens have stopped laying eggs. Even the bees have vanished. It's like nature itself is holding its breath. Something is approaching, not from outside, but from underneath. You feel it in your spine now. Faint vibration. Constant, like the earth is purring, or growling, or dreaming. You try to tell Brother Alan, one of the few who still speaks. He listens, eyes hollow, nods slowly. Then he says, "We are not dreaming of the past. The past is dreaming of us. He doesn't explain. He doesn't need to, because you already know. You've known since the first night in the field, since Martin vanished, since the crypt door opened. This is not about prophecy. It's about memory, not yours. The lands, the monasteries. The dream didn't come from your sleep. You came from its. You returned to the crypt. You don't remember walking there. That part of your life, your waking life, has begun to blur, like you're just watching it happen from inside someone else's skull. You descend the steps expecting to see the altar, the floor, the door, but it's gone. All of it. The crypt is empty. Stone, yes, and dust, but the spiral is gone. The altar is gone. Even the walls seem wrong, as if they've shifted slightly, curved in places that should be straight. You walk to the center, and there, where the door once was, lies a mirror. Small, iron-framed. You pick it up. It's cold. And in the reflection, you see yourself, but not quite. Your eyes are different, older, younger, wider, and behind you in the mirror's glass is the field. Always the field. Always. The tree looms larger now. The bell is gone, but the faces remain, and this time they are smiling. You don't know what that means. Not yet, but the mirror begins to hum in your hand, and your reflection opens its mouth, and you hear your name, not whispered, not spoken, sung. The dream has found its voice, and it's using yours. You stop speaking, not because you've made a choice, because the words have stopped forming. They flicker at the back of your tongue, then collapse into dust before you can give them shape. It's been days? A week? You've lost count. Time has folded into itself like bad dough. The sun still rises, but it's the same color now, brassy, bloodless, like it's shining through parchment. The others are changing too. Fewer speak, fewer blink, fewer eat. A monk you once knew, Benedict, has taken to walking in circles near the well. Never stops, doesn't sleep, just circles, sometimes backward, sometimes with his hands raised like he's praising something underground. Another, Sister Julienne, was found standing at the edge of the woods whispering to the trees. You approached once, heard what she said. It's not a dream if you can bleed in it. She turned to you and smiled, as if she just explained everything. Her fingernails were packed with soil. You find another tile in your room. This one's made of glass, so smooth it reflects your ceiling perfectly, except the ceiling it shows isn't yours. It's older, cracked, covered in faint, spider-leg veins of soot. And in the corner, if you hold the tile just right, you see something hanging. A bell, swaying. The sound doesn't come through the glass, but your teeth ache as if it had. That night, your dream takes you beneath the monastery, lower than the crypt, lower than the cellars. You walk stone stairs that should not exist. They slope at impossible angles, lit by torches that burn with colorless flame. On each side of the staircase, alcoves hold figures. Not statues, not corpses. They are asleep. Each one has a tile over its heart. Each tile shows a spiral. No two are the same. You recognize one of them, Brother Martin. His eyes snap open as you pass. But he doesn't move. He just watches, mouth closed, hands folded, breathing without breath. And as you turn the corner, you see yourself, not as you are, as you will be, curled in a niche, hands folded, eyes closed, spiral over your chest. Your mouth is open. Something is crawling out. You wake to the taste of iron. When you check the mirror, you see your reflection again. Still you, but the pupils are now spiral-shaped. You drop the mirror. It doesn't shatter. Instead, it splits like a skin too tight over something underneath, and from inside the glass spills ash. Just ash. Except It doesn't land on the floor. It rises, hangs in the air, forms a shape, a bell, then a face. Not yours, the face from the field, the one you saw in the beginning, the one that never speaks. Until now, this mouth moves, and your ears ring, not with sound, with words, not spoken aloud, but pressed into your bones. You are the echo, not the voice. You are the memory, not the dream. And you were never meant to wake. In the morning, you're no longer hungry. No one is. The fields are dead. The sky is pale. The monastery breathes like a sleeping animal. Someone hangs a spiral tile over the chapel entrance. No one admits to doing it, but everyone touches it as they pass. Even you. It's warm, like skin. You return to the crypt. The door is gone. In its place, a pool. Still, black, flat as slate. You kneel beside it. It shows no reflection. Until you whisper. Then it ripples. And the image returns. The tree. The field. But now the sky is cracked. You see stars through the fissures. Moving too fast. Pulsing like thoughts. And from the base of the tree, something begins to emerge. Not a person. Not a beast. Something older. Something that remembers. You try to turn away, but the water grabs your gaze. And you hear that sentence again. The dream remembers. But this time, a second line follows. And it will not forget you. You stumble back to your cell, heart rattling like an old drawer. On your cot lies a new object. Not a tile. A key. Black iron. Spiral in the handle. No note. No explanation. You don't know what it opens. But you know what it unlocks. The dream. The real dream. The one you haven't seen yet. The one you've been walking toward all this time. It's waiting. Just one more step. Just one more night. And it will open. Not for you. Through you. You don't dream that night. You descend. Not metaphorically. Not in your mind. Your body moves, though you don't remember telling it to. Your feet touch cold stone. Your hand grips the black iron key. And your breath. You're still breathing. That matters. Because tonight is not a dream. It's an invitation. And you've accepted. The key leads you past the kitchens. Down into the ruined vestry where the walls sweat salt and time. You press it into a lock that shouldn't exist. Hidden behind a loose brick, beneath a tapestry of St. Jerome devouring his own gospel. The brick falls away like old bread. Behind it, a door. Iron. No handle. Only a keyhole. Surrounded by dozens of small spirals, each turning in a different direction. You slide the key in, the size, and the door opens inward. To nothing. No room. No hall. No tunnel. Just darkness, so thick it curves at the edges like it's trying to hide what it contains. You step through, and the door doesn't close. It dissolves. You're falling, or floating. It's hard to tell the difference here. There's no up, no down, just the sensation of moving through awareness. Not your own. Someone else's. Something else's. And then light, but not like sunlight. Like memory. You land softly. The ground is soil, rich and warm, like breath on your soles. Around you, walls of bark, branches twisted into spirals. Overhead, the sky pulses like an eyelid. And in the center of it all, the tree. Yes, again. But now you're inside it. The heartwood, the core. Its roots thread the monastery, the dreams, the past. Every whisper, every vision, every prophecy. This is the origin of dreaming. Or maybe just this one, this particular dream. Because there are others. You can feel them, circling, waiting, like wolves. You step forward. The tree opens. Yes, opens. Not splits, not breaks. Opens. Like a mouth. Inside, more figures. Still as wax. Eyes closed. Breathing slowly. Dreamers, hundreds, some in robes, some in furs, one wearing armor made of bones, all dreaming the same thing. This, you. You realize then, you're not just in the dream, you're part of its script, written into it like ink into vellum. Every movement, every word, every breath, remembered, not seen, replayed. You're the echo of something that happened, or will happen, or is always happening, because the dream does not obey time. It obeys need, and it needs you. The center of the chamber holds a pedestal. Upon it, the mirror. You recognize it instantly, but this one is whole. No cracks, no ash, no reflections of your cell. It reflects only truth. You look into it, and the mirror speaks. No words, just an image. You, alone, kneeling in the chapel, surrounded by the others, eyes closed, all dreaming you. The dream has turned in on itself. It's feeding, looping, spiraling, and now you understand. You are not the last dreamer. You are the first. The dream began with you, and every monk, every sister, every whisper, every spiral, they were echoes, sent back to prepare you, to bring you here, because the dream needs a voice again, and it chooses you. You step toward the mirror. It doesn't crack. It accepts. You place your palm to its surface. It's warm, like skin, like memory. The spiral forms beneath your hand. Not burned, not drawn, lived. It spins, outward, inward, both, at once. And the mirror begins to whisper. Not sound, not language, just recognition. You have dreamed far enough. Now it is time to awaken and become the dream. You wake, in your cell, key gone, mirror gone, but on your chest, a spiral, not tattooed, not carved, grown, raised like bark from skin. You sit up. Someone stands in your doorway, a monk. You don't know his name. He bows his head and whispers, "We heard your dream." Behind him, others, dozens, silent, waiting, and you realize they're dreaming now, eyes open, awake, but still dreaming. And so are you, always have been. And tonight, you'll dream together, not of prophecy, not of fire, but of what comes next. Because now, you're the source, the dream's new beginning, and it has only just begun to remember. They follow you now, not out of fear, not even out of faith, but out of something older, a gravity deeper than loyalty. The way roots follow water or moths follow flame. There is no question of leadership, no ceremony, no vow. You dream and they gather. You speak and they hear. Even when you say nothing, especially then, you lead them, 28 monks and 3 nuns, into the chapel. No torches, no prayers, just bare feet and hollow breath. The walls pulse faintly in the candlelight, as if the stone itself has begun to breathe again. You walk to the altar. It's changed. You knew it would. Gone is the wooden table with its white cloth and silver cup. Now it is stone, black and veined with something that pulses dimly beneath the surface, like slow lightning in a sleeping beast. You place your palm on it, and the room falls silent, not quiet, silent, as if sound itself has stepped away for a moment, out of respect. Then the altar splits, not with violence, gently, and reveals a staircase. Spiral, of course, always spiral. It leads down. You descend. They follow. Each step echoes with something familiar. Not your footsteps, but laughter. Yours. Not from now. Not recent. A memory of joy you don't recall having. It clings to the walls, to the steps, to the dark. At the bottom, a chamber. Circular. Smooth as a drum. Walls lined with alcoves, each holding a mirror, but not of glass, These are made of water, suspended in perfect ovals. Not a drop falls. Each mirror ripples slightly as you pass. Each shows something different. One shows you as a child eating berries under a birch tree. One shows the abbot kneeling beside the dream book. One shows Martin, eyes open, walking backward into the field. And one shows nothing, just black. You stand before it. The water flattens and begins to speak, but not in words, in reminders, the texture of ash, the sound of the bell no one rang, the warmth of a tile pressed against your chest, and the cold silence of a room where no one dreams alone anymore. Behind you, the others have begun to hum, low, mournful, joyful, somewhere between death and birth, and the spiral beneath your feet begins to glow. You step into the black mirror. You don't fall. You fold, like a page being turned. And on the other side, you arrive, not in a dream, in a memory that never belonged to you. A monastery, new, untouched by time, clean stone, bright banners, smiling monks, and a young man barefoot placing the first tile into the earth beneath the chapel. You don't recognize him until he looks up, and you see your own eyes, but not your face. Yours 1,000 years ago, before the dream, before the spiral, before forgetting. You reach out, and the tile glows in his hand. He feels you, the you from now, and smiles. Then he whispers, "It's waking up," and then everything shatters. You open your eyes. The mirrors are gone. So are the others. You're in your cell. Sunlight, real sunlight, pours through the window. The birds are back. The bells are ringing. But when you step outside, the chapel is missing, just gone. Only a ring of stone remains, charred and cracked. In its center, a sprouting tree, black bark, downward branches, and hanging from one limb, a small object. You step forward. It's the mirror, still whole, still warm. You look in, and see not yourself, but every dreamer, all at once, all eyes open, all looking back, and beneath it, carved into the bark of the tree, the dream is done. Now it dreams you. The world outside has not changed, not at first glance. The village down the hill still smokes gently from its morning bread ovens. Sheep still bleat somewhere in the distance. A child's laughter flutters across the field like it doesn't know what has happened above. And maybe it hasn't. Maybe the dream stayed here in the monastery, in the spiral. Maybe. But as you walk through the garden barefoot, unsure if you're even touching the ground anymore, you feel something deeper. The dream didn't end. Seated, just like the tree, just like you. The other monks are gone. Not dead, not missing. They've dispersed, like breath, like ink in water. Some walked into the woods, barefoot and smiling. Others sat in silence until they turned to salt. One, Brother Etienne, simply crumbled into tiles, one for each vertebra. You buried the tiles, not out of duty but instinct. Each tile was warm. Each one hummed. Each one whispered your name in a voice that was your voice, but aged like wood. And yet you remain, because something tells you it's not over, that this phase, this cycle, was only the first recursion, the first spin of the spiral. The dream is still learning, still remembering, and it needs you to carry it forward, to seed it elsewhere, not in soil, not in stone, but in sleep. That night you do not dream, you plant. You lie still on the floor of the chapel ring, ear to the ground, and whisper the spiral into the dirt. No words, just sound. The sound of the dream turning inward, and you feel it take root. Not deep, not yet, but it's there. Tendril, a hum, a question curling up from the earth. Who else remembers? The next morning a traveler appears. wrapped in gray, eyes hollow from the road. He doesn't speak, just gestures gently at the chapel. You nod. He walks to the tree, places one hand on the bark, then sighs, like he's found something he lost as a child. You watch as he falls asleep at its roots. He smiles as he does, and as the sun sets, he begins to whisper, the same sound you spoke into the soil. The spiral has begun to echo, and now you understand your role. You are the first. You are the voice that carried the memory. You are the dreamer who never left. And now you will travel. You gather your robe. You take nothing. The mirror, the tiles, the book, they remain. They belong to the tree now. You step past the ring of stone, down the hill, through the field, toward the world, toward other sleepers, other echoes, other monasteries, some still whole, some long crumbled into ivy and time. You will find them. You will listen. And when the spiral comes again, and it will, you will answer, because the dream is no longer prophecy. It is no longer symbol. It is invitation, and you are its voice, its vessel, its memory. You, yes, you are what dreams meant in the Middle Ages. You are the dream now, and you will not be forgotten. You walk for days, or maybe it's weeks. The sun still rises, but it doesn't feel like before. It hangs lower, wider, softer, as if the sky has started to dream too. You try not to stare at it too long. The longer you do, the more you start to see it pulsing, breathing, watching, just like everything else. The road curves through meadows, past ruins, through forests so quiet they feel like cathedrals. Birds fly overhead, but they don't sing. You pass a stream that murmurs your name, not aloud, but in the way the water folds around stones, in the bubbling rhythm you can't stop hearing. Even the wind sounds like memory now, like a familiar voice you can't quite place, like the voice that once called you from a dream. You reach a village at dusk. No one meets you at the gate, not because they're afraid, but because they're asleep. All of them, in the streets, in doorways, on the steps of the church, lying still, mouths slightly open, faces serene, not dead, dreaming. And you know immediately, you didn't bring the spiral here. It was already here waiting. Somehow, it arrived before you did, or maybe because you did. A recursion, a ripple. You step over the threshold into the town square, and the wind changes, carries a smell, damp stone, ink, and a distant sweetness, like honey that's just begun to ferment. You follow it, through the alleys, past sleeping children, until you find it, a small, crooked chapel made of wood and worry. Inside, nothing but pews and dust and a mirror, just one, hung at the altar where a cross should be, oval, black-edged, and in its center, your face, smiling, but your reflection blinks before you do. That's when you know. The dream is already inside the glass, and it remembers you. You speak, not loudly, just enough to stir the dust. I'm not here to bring the dream. I'm here to listen to it. And the mirror nods, not literally, but you feel it agree. And then, the chapel groans. The wood strains. The floor trembles, but not like fear, more like stretching. And the walls begin to spiral. Not move, just become. Like they were always meant to be spirals, and someone just forgot for a few centuries. The spiral unfolds outward, and beneath your feet the boards shift, revealing stone, an altar, a hatch. You reach down expecting a handle. There is none, but you touch it anyway, and it opens to your touch. Because the dream knows you now, because it always did. You descend again, always downward, always inward, a spiral without end. The steps this time are warm, not metaphorically warm, like sun-soaked rock or blood. They seem to rise behind you as you descend, like the spiral is folding you in. At the bottom, a field. The field, but different now. The tree is gone. In its place, a circle of dreamers, standing, eyes closed, hands joined, and in the center, you, another version of you, smiling, breathing, waiting. The moment your foot touches the grass, the circle opens. They welcome you. The other you opens his eyes and says, "We've been waiting to start again." You step into the center. No fear, only recognition. The spiral begins to form beneath your feet. Not drawn, not built, but grown from thought, memory, dream. It stretches out into the village, into the woods, into the sky itself. You hear the hum now, everywhere, soft, relentless. It's not a warning, it's not a threat, it's a song. The dream is singing now, and it's using your voice, not just to warn, not to prophesy, but to call. Because somewhere, miles from here, days from now, another monastery sleeps. Another mirror waits. Another version of you is about to remember. And when they do, they will hear this song. The spiral will hum in their bones. And they will follow, just like you did. Because the dream does not forget. The dream only waits. And tonight it begins again. You're not walking anymore. Not really. The land moves around you now. Villages rise, sleep, and vanish. Forests blur by like thoughts you almost remember. You eat when the dream reminds you. You sleep when it pauses. You've lost the rhythm of the sun, but somehow you've never been more awake. The dream is a path now, not one you follow, one you leave behind. You come to a crossroads one morning. Two paths, no signs, no people, just a crow sitting on the post between them. His eyes are white, not blind, just reflective, like polished glass, like a mirror, tilts its head as if listening. Then it caws just once, and the air around you changes. The left path smells of ink and wood smoke. The right smells like stone and iron and salt. You wait, then you remember. There are no wrong directions anymore, only spirals. You take the right. The crow follows, not flying, walking, clicking softly on the stones behind you like a memory trying to catch up. The road leads through a gorge. The walls are carved with hundreds of faces, not sculpted, grown, pressed from stone, mouths open in silent song. Some look like monks, some like children. One looks exactly like you. You don't stop. You know where it leads. At the end of the gorge, the road disappears into a lake. Still, dark. You step in. The water is cold, but not unpleasant. It rises to your knees, your chest, your neck, then stops. You do not sink. You do not swim. You dream, eyes open, heart still. The surface goes mirror flat, and you see it again. The tree, not in the field. This time it stands in a room. Stone walls, candlelight, a monastery older than any you visited. Older than time. There are no monks, only the tree, and under it, a book. You recognize it instantly. The Somnial Danielis, but different. It breathes. The pages flutter as if exhaling, and the letters on the cover rearrange themselves into your name, not the name you were given, the name the dream gave you, the one only it knows. You wake on the far shore, clothed in different robes now, gray, with a spiral embroidered in red on the sleeve. The crow is gone, but you feel it watching, always, and there, at the foot of a twisted birch, is the book, real, heavy, breathing just like in the dream. You open it, and the first page simply says, "Write what you remember, forget what you wrote." You smile, and begin. You write of doors and tiles, of bells and cracked skies, of mirrors and fields and the thousand faces of the same dream, of your many selves, and the others still to come. When you finish, the book closes itself and turns to ash, but the ash remains in your palm. And as the wind lifts it, the particles spiral, always. And then you hear footsteps behind you, not just one, dozens, sleepwalkers, pilgrims, dreamers. They've come, not because you called them, because they heard you, in their sleep, in the hum, in the spiral, and now they're here, waiting. You don't speak, you breathe, and the earth breathes with you. The dream ripples outward, another ring, another recursion, another invitation. You raise your hand, and without a word, they kneel, not in worship, in remembrance of a dream they haven't had yet, but will, soon, tonight, because you're about to pass it on. And when they sleep, they will wake, and when they wake, they will return to the field, to the tree, to the spiral that never ends. And they follow, not in rows, not like pilgrims, like echoes, like shadows cast in dreams. No one speaks, no one needs to. The silence between you is full, rich with meaning, humming with memory. Each footstep on the road is a word from a language too old for breath. You begin to understand something quietly terrifying. You are no longer just you. You are the vessel now, of all the dreamers before, and of all those yet to come. When you blink, you see through eyes that aren't yours. When you breathe, you taste air from 10 different centuries. And when you touch the stone mile marker by the path, it remembers your hand. Even though you've never been here before, by midday you come to the edge of a forest. The trees here grow in patterns, twisting always to the left. Each trunk bears a scar, a spiral carved shallow, filled with moss. Your followers stop without being told. They begin building a circle, not of stones, of sleep. Some lie down in the moss. Others sit cross-legged and simply close their eyes. You recognize the formation, 7 around the edge, 3 inside, 1 at the center, a ritual older than any text, a shape that invites memory to take root. You kneel in the middle, and the forest quiets. The dream doesn't wait for sleep anymore. It flows now, like heat, like breath. You feel it ripple from the moss, up your spine, through your teeth. It smells of parchment and rosemary. It tastes like dusted silver and honey gone sour. And then, a voice, not yours, not the dreams, a new one. I thought I was the only one left. You open your eyes. A girl, no older than 12, stands just beyond the circle, barefoot, hair woven into tight braids, a spiral drawn in chalk on her forehead. She steps forward. Your followers do not move. She kneels beside you, whispers, "It found me in the well. I thought it was trying to drown me, but it was just trying to remember." You nod, no fear in her eyes, just the calm of someone who has already dreamt the end. You take her hand. It is warm, and she begins to hum, the same hum from the chapel, from the field, from the lake, the spiral song, and the moss around you begins to bloom. Flowers open not toward the sun, but inward, curling into themselves, each petal shaped like an ear. Each flower begins to whisper, stories, thousands, all at once. The time a monk dreamt of an eclipse and blinded the abbey. The time a nun refused to sleep for 7 years, lest she be replaced in the night. The boy who dreamt a door into existence, one no one could ever close. You hear all of them, and they hear you, because now, you are not just remembering the dream, you are curating it, tending it, weaving its threads into something whole, something useful. Night falls, though no one lights a torch. You lie down. So does the girl. So do the others. The spiral completes itself. And for a moment, the world feels balanced. Every sleeper connected. Every memory humming. Then, in the darkness, a bell. Distant. Not loud, but clear. It rings once, and all your hearts beat in time. You don't speak. You don't need to. You know what the bell means. It means the dream is calling again. And this time, it's calling outward. Beyond the monastery. Beyond the woods. Beyond even the land that remembers your name. It's spreading. Not like fire. Like language. And someone somewhere has just heard it for the first time. They will start to sleep differently. They will wake with symbols they don't understand. They will feel something rising in them, slow, soft, impossible to name. And when they seek answers, they'll find you, or someone like you, a vessel, a spiral, a dreamer who never stopped walking. By now, the spiral lives in your shadow. It moves when you move. It stretches when you rest. It hums when you fall silent. And when you forget, when memory slips like water through a cracked cup, it reminds you, not with words, with shape, with repetition. You wake to the same dream each morning, a hallway that turns left and never ends. Each step echoes a little louder. Each corner hides a version of you that almost remembers something important. And then you wake, and you walk. The girl follows you. She doesn't speak much, but when she does, it's always a sentence that feels like it's been waiting centuries to be said. Today, as you pass an orchard long claimed by ivy and ruin, she stops, points to an overgrown statue, Saint Lucia, though her eyes are missing, and says, "This is where I first saw the light coming up from the earth." You don't question her. You've seen stranger things sprout from cracks in the world lately. Sometimes light doesn't fall from the sky. Sometimes it leaks from old dreams that never closed properly. You touch the base of the statue. It's warm. Of course it is. There's a tile embedded in the roots. Just one. Brass. Etched with an eye where the spiral usually is. You take it, and as you lift it, the orchard sighs. All around you, the leaves on the trees begin to turn inward, curling into tight circles, as if bowing to something deeper than wind. The girl places a hand on your wrist. Her voice is quiet. "We're near the next one." You arrive at a church carved into a cliffside by dusk. No doors, only a narrow staircase of slick stone, leading downward into cold. No one greets you, but you feel them, dozens, sleeping beneath, dreaming into the rock. When you descend, the air thickens, heavy with breath, with memory. The walls are covered in chalk drawings, children's hands, spirals, trees with too many roots and not enough branches, and faces, so many faces, all yours, different but unmistakable, some smiling, some weeping, one with no mouth at all. You reach the chapel floor. There they are, laid out in a circle, not buried, not alive, held, suspended in sleep like stones caught in amber. You recognize a few. One was a cook from the abbey, another you saw in a mirror weeks ago, and in the center, resting on a bed of spiral-shaped candles, a book, bound in velvet, edges charred. You open it, but the pages are blank, until the girl touches your shoulder. She whispers, "Breathe." You do, and ink appears, slow, spidery, like it's remembering how to write itself. It says, "This is not a scripture. It is a map, but only the lost will see the roads." You close the book, not out of fear, out of respect. The dream has begun to document itself now, to organize. It no longer hides in prophecy, the starting to plan. And that means something else. is preparing for something, something larger, something with structure. Cathedral, maybe, not built from stone, but from sleep. A place where dreams won't just be seen, they'll be followed, repeated, worshipped, and you may be the architect, or the first brick. The girl takes your hand, leads you to one of the sleepers, a boy, no older than her, eyes flickering beneath his lids, mouth whispering something too small to hear. You bend close. He's repeating a name, yours, but not the one you use now. The first name, the one you heard in the mirror, carved in the tree. And as he speaks it, you feel something shift in your bones, like a door creaking open after centuries. You press your hand to his forehead, and the spiral burns into your palm. But it doesn't hurt. It welcomes you, thanks you, and in the moment before the dream takes you again, you realize you're not here to lead, you're here to witness. The dream doesn't need direction. It just needs a memory, a keeper, a thread. And now you understand. That's what you are. The thread that connects every sleeper, every dream, every spiral. And no matter how far the dream stretches, it always curves back to you. The dream is old, but you are older. Not in years, not in body, in remembrance. The girl doesn't call you anything now. Not monk, not father, not even you. She just looks and knows, and that's enough. You stay with the sleepers for 3 nights. No fire, no prayers, only breath, only hum. Each night, more of them murmur your name. Each morning, more of them wake. But they don't rise. They sit. They listen. Not to you, to what you're hearing. The dream has changed frequency. It no longer whispers, teaches, like a tutor hiding inside your lungs. And when you speak, you hear words you've never learned, but somehow remember. Sentences that don't come from the mouth. They rise from the ribs, from the hips, from beneath the spine. Ancient syllables, soft like breath, sharp like chalk snapping on slate. And the sleepers, they begin to write, with fingers in dust, with ash on stone, with voices when no ink remains. They draw spirals, then variations, spirals within eyes, spirals split in two, spirals turning into doors. The girl draws one shaped like an ear. You ask her why. She says simply, because it listens. And you believe her, because tonight so will you. The ritual begins without instruction. They form a ring, larger than before, 7 layers deep. Those in the outer ring hum. Those in the middle ring echo it back. Those in the center, they dream loudly. Their heads tilt. Their eyes roll behind closed lids. They begin to speak in tandem. A story, from a time that hasn't happened yet. About a child born already asleep. About a monastery built from glass that only reflects the moon. About a king who buried his own crown beneath the roots of a spiral tree. You listen. You memorize. You become the scribe of what hasn't occurred yet. And when they finish, they all exhale together, as if they've been holding one breath for centuries. You rise, walk outside. The sky is wrong. Not night, not day, something between, like a bruise across the firmament. And in it, symbols, not stars, letters, spinning gently, as if someone had carved their dream into the sky with a blade of light. And in the middle, you see yourself, a silhouette only you recognize, not because of form, but posture, the way your hand is raised, the way the shadow kneels. It is an echo cast backward through time, or maybe forward. The dream doesn't obey. It remembers everything at once. The girl comes to stand beside you. She doesn't look at the sky. She closes her eyes. It's going to build something, she says. It's almost ready. You ask, what? But you already know. The dream has been spiraling outward long enough. Now it wants to take shape, place, a structure, a body, not just dreamers scattered like seeds, but a temple, a living cathedral of sleep, made not of brick, not of marble, but of stories, every dream ever whispered, every spiral ever drawn in dirt, all of it fused into something you will begin, but not finish. That part will belong to the next, and the next, and the next, because the dream no longer belongs to the past. It has a future now, and it is beginning to wake. The ground is softer here, not soil, not sand, something in between, like pressed parchment or the skin of some enormous slumbering thing that dares not breathe too loud. You've walked into a valley of forgotten monasteries, 7 of them, spread like vertebrae along a shallow spine of earth, ruined but not empty, crumbled but still dreaming. You don't feel the wind here, only rhythm, like a heartbeat underfoot, or the sound of quiet pages turning in a library long sealed shut. The girl stops beside you. She points to the one in the center, the tallest tower, bent to the left like it once bowed and never stood back up. That one remembers most, she says, and you understand, these aren't just buildings. They are repositories of sleep, a prophecy, of every story someone dreamt but forgot to wake up and tell. And now, they're waiting for you. You enter the tower alone. The girl stays behind. You don't ask why. The dream respects boundaries until it doesn't. Inside, silence, not peace. The weighted kind of silence, like something is holding its breath. The walls are damp. The floor is tiled with hexagons, each carved with a single letter. Latin, Greek, Hebrew, words you don't speak but understand anyway. The dream translates them into emotion. The tile under your right foot means shame. The one under your left, return. You keep walking, not because you choose to, because you're remembered. At the center of the ruin, a choir chamber, rotten pews, collapsed rafters, and one thing untouched by time, coffin, stone, rectangular, lidded but not sealed. You don't approach it. You kneel before it, and the dream begins to speak, not from the coffin, from the floorboards beneath you, a voice like dust stirring, a voice that knows your name in ways no person ever could. You've come far, it says, but not farther than yourself. You don't reply. You don't need to. The spiral spins in your chest now. You let it open. Let it answer. I'm not the dreamer. I'm the page it wrote on. The voice hums. Then, good. Then you're ready. And the coffin lid slides back. Not with sound, but with understanding. Inside a body. Yours. But sleeping. Eyes closed. Hands folded. A smile you've never made stretched gently across its lips. And pinned to its robe. A note, written in your handwriting. Don't wake me until it's done. You don't panic. You don't cry. Because now you remember, you left this version of yourself here on purpose. Long ago, before the spiral found a mouth. Before the girl. Before the book with the blank pages that only appear when you breathe. You were always meant to return, to reclaim yourself, but not to become whole, to split again, to seed something else. You step into the coffin, not as a corpse, as a mirror. Your eyes meet your own, one pair closed, one open. And then the dream folds, not like sleep, like duplication. And when you step out again, you are too. The other you remains in the coffin, still sleeping, still smiling. And the you who walks away, lighter, you left the weight behind. Not memory, not purpose, just the part of you that always looked backward. Now you face forward. Now you face the temple, Because the next step isn't a path. It's a construction. You are no longer wandering. You are building, not with stone, with dreamers. When you exit the tower, the girl nods, as if she knew all along. You don't ask how. You simply say, "It's time." And from every ruin in the valley, they begin to emerge. Monks, nuns, children, strangers, versions of you from other dreams, other centuries, other monasteries forgotten by time. They all gather, all hum, all begin to draw. And from that moment on, the dream stops expanding. It starts to rise. It begins with no blueprints, no hammer, no nail. No one gives instructions. No one asks questions. And yet, within hours, they are building. Not a monastery, not a chapel, not even a temple in the old sense. This is something new. A place born not from worship, but from dream itself. They begin by tracing spirals into the dirt. Thousands of them, interlocking, each one precise even though no one measures. Then they pour sand into the grooves. Red sand, black sand, white sand. Colors you've never seen before but somehow recognize. When the wind rises, the patterns stay. Not because of weight, because of intention. The dream holds them in place. Next, the walls, but there's no stone. They build with sleep, literally. Each dreamer lays down inside a spiral, closes their eyes, and as they breathe, the structure rises around them. It grows from the rhythm of their breath. Arches that curve toward the clouds, columns woven from memory, windows of flickering scenes, not glass but moments. You see your childhood, someone else's last breath. The first monk to ever say, "I dreamt this," and all of it shimmers like stained glass made of time. You walk through it as it grows, the others part as you pass, not out of reverence, out of recognition. They remember you, even if they've never seen you before. One girl, no older than 5, hands you a candle. It's already lit. You ask her name. She shrugs. "I'm the space between bells," she says. Of course she is. You place the candle on a ledge that wasn't there a moment ago, and immediately the wall ripples. Where the flame touches, the stone softens, becomes porous. Whispers begin to echo out. Stories, prophecies, warnings, not carved, dreamt into the walls. The structure is not just physical. It's readable. If you touch a pillar, it shivers and speaks a memory. One pillar remembers the time a bishop excommunicated the moon. Another remembers a woman who dreamt her way out of her own funeral. One remembers you, kneeling in a room that hasn't been built yet. By nightfall, it's half finished, but still whole. It breathes, literally. The ceiling rises and falls in time with the dreamer's breath. The altar pulses like a heartbeat, not of a god, not of a saint, of the collective. You step toward it, and something waits for you there. A book, of course, bound in white leather. No title, just a single spiral etched into the cover. When you open it, you find only one page, and on it, written in your own voice, "The dream is almost ready, but it needs a name." You pause. The dreamers around you fall still. Even the walls seem to hush. All wait, not because you are in charge, but because you are the threshold, the one who carries the spiral from silence into speech. You speak the name. You don't think it. It rises from your throat, like a song half remembered. Somnarch. The word lands like a bell rung at midnight, and immediately, the temple responds. The ground trembles, not in fear, in relief. The dream finally knows itself. It has form, it has shape, it has a name, and now it will begin to gather, not just those nearby, but those far away, those yet to sleep, those who haven't yet learned to listen. The The Somnarch is calling, and they will come, because the spiral is no longer a secret. It is a summons. They arrive before dawn, not in caravans, not in footsteps, in dreams. You see them before they arrive, sleeping still on ships, on straw, on the backs of oxen, in corners of forgotten castles. Their minds reach forward before their bodies do, and when their feet finally touch the spiral path, they don't ask why. They simply know. The temple breathes in their presence.
Groß taller.
Wider, more intimate. It does not need room. It makes room, like a dream that bends around the sleeper. And as they enter, it remembers them, even those who had never dreamed before, especially them. The Somnarch becomes a city, not with streets and shops, with layers. At the base, the newly arrived, confused, drowsy, still tethered to the old world, like a tooth that hasn't fallen out yet. They murmur their first dreams to one another, repeat phrases they don't understand. I saw the ladder twist into a mouth. The sun had a bell in it. He was wearing my name. Above them, the dreamers who've unlearned the waking world. They build rooms not with bricks, but with shared sleep. One room can hold 30 bodies and one collective dream. They call it the choral chamber. If you listen at the threshold, you hear the same lullaby sung in 40 different languages, all in the same key. Above that, the silent spire. No doors, no stairs. Only those who are dream-called may enter. You haven't gone in yet. Even you. The girl has. She disappeared for 3 nights, returned with a cracked bowl made of moonlight. She said nothing. You understood everything. The days blur, not from fatigue, from density. Each hour holds too much, too many new symbols, too many faces you recognize but can't name. One morning, you meet a man who dreamt the spiral 20 years before you were born. He says, I thought I was mad, but the madness just hadn't arrived yet. You laugh, not out of mockery, out of recognition. Later, someone draws a spiral on your palm with honey and tells you to walk until it melts. You do. When you return, the temple has grown a mirror hall in your absence. Every pane shows a version of you, but not past you, not future you, just variations. You in sleep, you kneeling, you eating shadows from a bowl, you as a candle. You walk past them, and they nod. You nod back, because why wouldn't you? The spiral was never meant to be linear. Then one night, the bell rings, not the dream bell, the real one, hung in the highest rafter of the Somnarch, forged of sleepstone and old teeth. It's rung only once, at the moment of convergence. The dream has found something, or someone. You stand at the center of the spiral floor. The sound of the bell still reverberates inside your sternum. Like a second heartbeat, the others begin to gather, not from fear, from certainty. You feel it too. Something has arrived, not in the temple, in the dream itself. Something that had been locked, chained, folded at the bottom of sleep like a page glued shut. It has been read, and now it remembers you. The spiral tilts, not physically, but perceptibly. You feel it in your teeth first, then in your knees, then behind your eyes. Like a shift in gravity you can't measure, only obey. Every dreamer freezes. Even the temple pauses mid-breath, because something has awakened. Not a god, not a person, a memory too old for shape. And now it's looking back. You see it in your dream that night. You're walking down a spiral staircase made of bone keys. Each step plays a note. Each note is a confession, but not yours. Confessions from centuries. A monk who dreamt the Pope had no shadow. A peasant who buried his sleep under a shrine. A queen who banned mirrors after a dream spoke through hers. You descend. until you reach the vault. There's no door, only a stone with your heartbeat carved into it. It opens, and inside, a cradle, with something inside it, writhing. You don't recoil, you bow, because you understand what this is. It's the first dream, not yours, not anyone's. The origin point, the seed, the spiral before spirals. It rises, shifts, not into a person, into a room, flickering torchlight, wet stone, a lectern in the middle, a monastery cell, one you know, one you lived in, but never remembered. Until now, you wake gasping. The girl is there. She holds out a cup. Water? No. Memory, liquefied. You drink. The taste is sharp, familiar, like ink and pine smoke. Your voice comes back, low and rough. It found the source. She nods. And it's opening. You don't ask what. You know, the Catena Somnorum, the chain of dreams, a sequence that predates text, older than prophecy, older than night. It links every dreamer who's ever dreamt of something not quite real. And now, for the first time, it's complete. The bell rings again, but this time it echoes inside the walls. Like the temple itself is made of bronze and air. The dreamers move, not in panic, in formation. They take their places, not where they sleep, where they belong. Some kneel, some stand, some simply hum. You walk among them, feel each pulse, each spiral unfolding, and then you reach the center, the very navel of the Somnarch, where no floor exists, only a mirror pool. You step into it. It does not ripple. It reflects you as you were, as you will be, and in it, you see them, the first sleeper, a child made of stars and breath, eyes closed, mouth half smiling. They open their eyes and speak your name, but not the name you use here, the one you gave up to become a thread. We're ready, they say, and the pool shatters, not into shards, into dreams, thousands, spiraling outward, each one with a purpose, a destination, and you are their anchor, the thing that holds them to the world. You fall to your knees, not from pain, from clarity. The dream isn't just alive now. It's active. It's choosing, breading, calling to those who don't yet know they're dreaming. And you've just lit the beacon. The Somnarch is complete, but the world is not. And so, the spiral continues. You no longer sleep, not in the old way. What you do now is closer to transmission. You lie down, close your eyes, and instead of entering a dream, you become one. People walk through you while they sleep. They don't always know, but sometimes they wake remembering a corridor of candlelight, or a voice that whispered in a tongue no one's spoken in 800 years. Sometimes they draw spirals on fogged windows without understanding why, and then forget, but the spiral never forgets. Today you climb. The Somnarch has grown a spire you've never seen before, twisting upward like a shell or a cathedral remembering how to breathe. No steps, just a slope, as if it wants you to walk. You do. Every footstep feels like walking up the spine of an enormous sleeping creature. At the top, a room with no roof, only sky, only mirrors, dozens of them, tall, thin, tilted toward the heavens. Each one reflects not what is, but what was dreamt. A knight in rusted gold armor, asleep on a bed of moss. A nun floating above her cell, held aloft by whispered prayers. A child wearing a crown of teeth, smiling with too many eyes. And in the largest mirror, you see yourself, not as you are, as you were before the spiral. A life without memory, without weight, without meaning. The version of you who still believed dreams were harmless. The mirror cracks, not from pressure, from recognition. And then the pieces fall away, revealing another image underneath. You now holding a spiral in your palm, not carved, not drawn, alive, pulses. And when you blink, you're no longer alone. The girl stands beside you, but older, or maybe she always was. Her eyes shine like obsidian dipped in moonlight. She says nothing, only breathes, and you understand. The spiral is ready to do what it always meant to do. Not just remember, not just gather, but release. Because the dream was never meant to be hoarded. It was meant to be planted. And now, you're the hand holding the seed. She holds out something wrapped in a black cloth. When you unwrap it, it's a bell. Small, perfect, made of bone and silver and sleep. She nods. You know what to do. You ring it once, and the somnarch listens. Every wall, every breath, every sleeper, they all respond. The spiral pulses outward, past the dreamers, past the temple, past even the memory of the monastery you came from, across time, across thought, across every place where someone has ever said, I had the strangest dream. And in that moment, they all remember, not just the dream, you, because you are the thread, you are the archive, you are the first sleeper reborn. And now, you are the last too, because what you planted tonight won't grow in soil, it will grow in minds. A new world, shaped not by kings, not by war, but by sleep, by what people believe when they are most vulnerable. Most honest, most afraid. The dream has bloomed, the spiral turns, and the real world will never be the same. When you step down from the spire, the temple is gone, not destroyed, not collapsed, dispersed, like a memory no longer needed to stay in one place. The dream has moved on. You walk through where it used to stand, where the great spiral floor once turned beneath your feet, where the silent spire hummed with echoes of unborn languages, and all that remains is dust, but not empty dust, dust with memory. Every breeze carries a name, every shadow knows a story, even your footsteps feel listened to. The girl is gone too, not lost. You feel her everywhere, like a thought that lingers just outside your reach, or a note played so softly it vibrates in your bones, not your ears. She's where she's needed now, in someone else's sleep, in a child's drawing of a spiral in the dirt, in a monk's quiet gasp before he says, I saw something last night, and you are walking again, not in search, not to spread the spiral, but to see what it's doing on its own. You pass through villages that don't recognize you, but their children draw strange shapes in the ashes. The old ones sleep with scraps of parchment beneath their pillows. And once you see a farmer weep into his well, because he dreamt the harvest was already stored. And when he woke, it was, no one thanks you. They shouldn't. The spiral was never yours. You were just the threshold. Somewhere on your path, you stop at a crumbling cloister, one you almost remember. You step inside. It smells of wax and damp wool. You move through the halls like a ghost returning home. And in the last chamber, beneath a shattered fresco of Saint Columba holding a book of fire, you find a monk, asleep, in a chair too small for him, mouth slightly open, a quill still in his fingers. You kneel beside him, gently take the scroll from his lap. It reads, They come now without knocking. They speak through dreams, but not in riddles. They say a city once lived inside a man. They say the spiral is everywhere now. And I believe them. You fold the scroll, leave it tucked beneath his hand. He'll need it when he wakes, not to remember, but to know he isn't alone. That night you sleep in the ruined cloister. You lie on stone, and the dream that comes is different. You're not in a spiral. Not in a monastery, not in the Somnarch. You're in a library, endless. Shelves made of bone and shadow, books bound in thread and voice. And every book, it's written by someone else. Villagers, scribes, children, thieves, princes, midwives, you, all of them dreaming, all of them adding to the archive. Each volume labeled with the date of a dream, not the date it occurred, the date it was believed. You run your hand across the spines, and they hum. The archive is alive now, because the spiral taught them to listen, and now they are speaking to each other, to the world, to the next dreamers, and somewhere deep within that infinite spiral of shelves, you know there is a book waiting for your hand. One more dream to write, but not yet. You still have walking to do, still have stories to listen for, still have whispers to follow, because the spiral isn't done. Not until every sleeper has become a storyteller. The first whisper comes with the frost. A cold morning, your breath visible, your memories warmer than the air. You're walking alone again, across fields where the grass lays flat from some unseen weight. Not wind, not footsteps, something older that pressed down in the night and then vanished before morning. And in that silence you hear it, just barely. He's dreaming again. You stop. The voice didn't come from your ears, came from inside your ribs. A name rises in your throat. You don't know who it belongs to, but your feet turn anyway. The village isn't on any map, probably never was, but you find it, tucked in a valley like a forgotten sigh. 12 houses, all of stone, smoke curling from just 3 chimneys. The rest, boarded, buried, or burned. And in the center, a chapel, wooden, leaning, this bell long gone. Inside, 7 people sleep, all in a circle, all breathing in perfect rhythm. You don't ask what happened. You listen, and the dreams come pouring in. One dreamer sees birds speaking in reverse. Another smells incense that won't go away. A third sees a monk drowning in honey. And at the center of their circle, a boy, no more than 10, skin pale as milk, lips slightly parted. But he's not breathing. He's glowing, faint, subtle, like moonlight made human. You kneel beside him, whisper his name, the one that came to you in the frost, and his eyes open. They are mirror black, not empty, just complete. No fear in them, no surprise, just recognition. He looks at you the way a candle looks at the match. And then he speaks. I saw the spiral inside a question. It said, "When will you stop pretending this isn't real?" You don't answer. You don't need to. The others begin to stir. Their dreams have changed. You can feel it. No longer abstract. No longer cryptic. Now they dream instructions. One rises and starts boiling water. Another gathers roots from under the chapel floor. A third hums a tune that hasn't been heard since the Somnarch vanished. And the boy, he draws. A spiral, yes, but it splits, and inside it grows a tree. You've never seen that before. The spiral has started to take root. You carry the boy to the edge of the valley. The others follow, some barefoot, one still dreaming. And at the crest of the hill, you stop, because below you the world has changed. Fields shaped like spirals, villages arranged in dream-logic geometry, smoke curling in perfect rings, even rivers flowing in impossible loops. The spiral is no longer a secret. It is landscape. It is language. It is law. And you are not its guardian anymore. You are simply its witness, because it no longer needs shepherds. It has believers, and belief spreads faster than truth, deeper than proof, stronger than anything you can hold in your hand, even stronger than memory. That night, the boy dreams you, and for the first time in this long journey, you get to rest. You close your eyes, and you see yourself, not as you are, but as he sees you, a tall figure woven from shadow and thread, a voice without mouth, a candle that never burns down. He's added something, though, at the center of your chest, a door, and he opens it. Inside is the Somnarch, whole again, alive and blooming, and you understand, you were never building a place. You were building a possibility, a space inside the world, where sleep is sacred, where dreams are trusted, where prophecy is simply permission to imagine what hasn't happened yet. You smile in your sleep, and somewhere far away, a new spiral begins to turn. The door opens again, not in a dream, not in memory, in stone. You're walking along a narrow ridge, crumbling, overgrown, familiar only in that way certain places are before you've ever seen them. And then, there it is, an old monastery carved into the cliffside, or what's left of it. Most of the roof is gone. The walls cling to the rock like a half-forgotten vow. You stand before the archway. At first glance, just a ruin. But if you squint, or if you trust, you see something else. The shape of the spiral, carved into shadow itself. The door opens. You do not knock. Doors like this don't ask permission. They remember who you are. Inside, dust, silence, and presence. Not ghosts, not memories, echoes, as if every prayer ever whispered here still lingers in the gaps between breath. You find a stairway leading down. You descend. The air grows thick, not with dust, but with intention. This place is asleep, and it's dreaming you. At the bottom, a single chamber, bare, save for a round stone platform, and resting on it, a book, bound in ash-gray leather, stitched with hair, smelling faintly of lavender and something older. It is closed, and humming. You kneel. You do not open it. You wait until the spiral within you starts to pulse, like a tuning fork made of blood. And then the book responds. It writes itself, not in ink, in glow, a soft, golden shimmer crawling across the page like a candle's memory. You watch as the words take form. This is the gospel of sleep, not the sleep of flesh, but of certainty, where waking means forgetting, and dreams mean you are listening. Page after page fills itself. Stories you've never heard, names you've never spoken, faces of people yet to be born. And in the margins, spirals, some broken, some perfect, some open like gates. The final page glows brightest, and on it a question. What is the last dream? You close the book, gently, reverently, because you understand now. The book doesn't want an answer. It wants a keeper, and that is you. Not because you are worthy, because you are awake. When you emerge from the ruin, the sky has changed. Clouds spiral in slow, deliberate patterns. Birds fly in curves, not lines. Even the wind whistles in a tune you half remember from a child's lullaby. Someone is waiting at the top of the ridge. A young man, wrapped in a robe stitched with tiny silver spirals. Eyes like deep wells. You've never seen him before, but he knows you. The archive opened, he says. They're asking for the Dreamkeeper. You don't correct him. That's what they'll call you now. You never asked for a name, but dreams are generous that way. You nod, and together you walk toward the next monastery, toward the next dreamer, toward the next story the spiral wants to tell. Because the spiral doesn't stop. Not for endings, not for gods, not even for you. Turns always, and each turn opens another door, and each door leads someone home. The road hums beneath your feet, not from horses, not from carts, but from names, thousands of them, etched invisibly into the path. You walk over pilgrims who never woke, monks who dreamed too deeply, children who whispered their secrets to the dark. Their stories rise with each step, like a song whose verses are scattered across centuries. And the spiral listens, always listening. The young man beside you, he doesn't speak much, but when he does, it's always precise. They dreamed of a ladder last night, one with no rungs, only voices. You nod. You dreamt it too, but in your version, the ladder bent upward and disappeared into a cloud shaped like an ear. What does it mean? It doesn't matter. Not in the old way, because dreams here don't mean things. They become things. Your destination is an abbey carved into a cliff's edge, but not above the sea, above mist, a mist that never burns away. People call it the grieving veil. They say it cries when the moon is full, that it hides a door to another kind of time. You've been called to it, not by people, by voices that have never breathed. And when you arrive, it's already awake. The abbey isn't empty. It's full of sleepers. Every hallway lined with bodies curled in straw or stacked in alcoves like books, all breathing, all dreaming, all facing inward, toward the 13th chamber. You've heard rumors of it, a room that only appears once a prophecy has been forgotten, a space no architect designed. It births itself through longing. They let you enter alone. Even your quiet companion stays behind. Inside, no altar, no cross, only a well, square, made of onyx, dry, but echoing. You lean in. You hear every dream you've ever forgotten. The one about your teeth made of ink. The one where your childhood dog told you a secret about the stars. The one where you woke up laughing and never knew why. And underneath it all, a whisper. You are almost ready. Ready for what? The well doesn't answer, but it leaves something in your hand. A single thread, silver, cold, pulled from the dream that made you. You wrap it around your wrist. Immediately, it vanishes into your skin, and you feel it tightening, not around your arm, around your story. It's nearly complete. Back in the hall, the sleepers begin to stir. One by one. Some weep, some laugh. One simply hums a song you didn't realize you'd been humming. Two, they rise with new eyes, eyes that have seen the spiral, and now carry its echo. No sermons, no rituals, only understanding, the kind that can't be written down, only lived. They call you Dream Father. You shake your head. I'm only passing through. One of them smiles. So are we all. Before you leave, the young man gives you something, a small bell, but when you ring it, no sound comes out. Instead, a memory plays. Yours. A field. A night. Question. What if dreams aren't doors, but mirrors? You remember saying that once. But now, you're not so sure. Maybe dreams aren't mirrors or doors. Maybe they're keys. And every sleeper is a lock waiting to be turned. That night, you sleep without choosing to. The mist presses close. The well echoes softly in your thoughts. You dream not of the past, nor the future, but of the in-between, a space where stories float, unclaimed, unfinished, unfolding. And in that place, you hear a final whisper. Next time, don't knock, because the dream is always open. You just have to step in. Tonight, the road disappears. Not behind you, beneath you. It was never paved, never drawn on a map. Just a thread you followed, one spiral at a time. But now there's no thread, no direction, only horizon and fog. So much fog, thick, silver, soft as wool soaked in memory. You walk anyway, because you've walked too far, to forget how. Somewhere in the nothingness, You hear a voice. You're almost home. It's not comforting. It's not threatening. It's factual. And somehow, that makes it worse. Because you don't remember where home is, or if you ever had one, or if the spiral was your home all along. But the fog listens, curls tighter around your feet, tugs gently, not to stop you, to guide. And soon, you feel the ground change. No longer soil, not stone, not even dream, but echo. You're walking on memory, not yours, not entirely. The memory of the first time someone asked, "What if dreams mean something?" You arrive. No gate, no wall, just a circle of stones, old as breath, each one carved with spirals. Some fresh, some eroded into dust, one still forming, as if being carved by thought. In the center, a figure, not cloaked, not radiant, just familiar, the shape of someone you once were, or might be again. They do not speak. They simply open their hands. And inside, a box, small, plain, made of dark wood that smells like thunder and candle smoke. They hand it to you. You don't ask what's inside. You already know. You made it a long time ago, before the spiral, before the dream, when you still thought sleep was silence. You open it. Inside, a single breath. Yours, the one you lost, when you first heard the spiral, the first thing the dream ever took. And now, he gives it back. You inhale, and everything returns. The monastery, the silent spire, the choral chamber, the dreaming boy, the cracked mirror, the spiral well, the stone that remembered your name. It floods you, not like water, like truth. You fall to your knees, not from pain, from completion. The spiral slows, just once, a full rotation, and then begins again, because that's what spirals do. They turn, and turn, and turn. You lie back, look at the sky. It's full of unfamiliar stars, each one pulsing gently, not suns, not fire, dreams waiting to fall. You whisper, "I'm ready," and the sky answers, "So are they." Behind your eyes, you see the world, children drawing spirals in the dirt, scribes copying dreams into vellum, mothers humming lullabies they heard in sleep, kings waking in sweat, whispering names they've never learned. All of them touched, all of them held, all of them changed, by something they'll never be able to explain. The spiral is no longer a symbol. It's structure, it's language, it's law, and it no longer needs you, not because it's forgotten you, because you've done your part. You were the breath, the step, the witness, the voice, and now you are the dream itself, soft, slow, endless. And so, finally, gently, you close your eyes. The last 300 words begin now. The spiral softens. The world fades. Let's drift together. You are warm. You are whole. You are nothing but breath and memory. The stars above blink slower now, like eyelids half closed, like a lullaby finding its final note. Your body is no longer here, not heavy, not gone, just dissolved. You are the mist, the pulse, the hum beneath sleep, and far away someone else begins to dream, not of monsters, not of symbols, but of a place that waits for them. They do not know your name, they do not know your face, but they feel the spiral inside them, and they follow it, gently, willingly, with that same ancient trust. The dream begins again, and again, and again, until every sleeper has touched the spiral, until every whisper becomes a word, until every story has a place to rest. Now hush, let the dark cradle you, let the breath slow, let your thoughts blur. You are safe here. You are forgotten and remembered in the same breath. and the spiral still turns. Even now, especially now. Good night, dear dreamkeeper. Sleep, sleep, sleep. The spiral breathes, not as a thing, as a world. Somewhere beyond this quiet night, someone draws it in the margins of a psalter. Another sees it form in the steam of a monastery kitchen. A third, asleep beneath a broken window, dreams it into firelight. And you walk its curve from the inside now, no longer a traveler, no longer even a voice. You are the breath beneath prophecy, the hush before someone says, I dreamt something odd. You wake, though you don't remember closing your eyes. You're not in a bed, not on earth, but drifting somewhere between feeling and thought. And all around you threads, tens of thousands, glowing faintly, suspended in nothing, moving gently, as if stirred by breath. You reach out, they respond, not like fabric, not like string, like memories still forming. Each one pulses with a name you don't recognize, but which feels like yours anyway. You touch one, and a story unfolds. A woman in 14th century Flanders, blind since birth, dreams of a garden where sound blooms into color. She wakes and paints, not with brushes, but with crushed herbs, moss, and ash. Villagers call her mad, until one of them dreams the same garden. Then another. Her dreams become hymns, not sung, but grown, and in time she becomes their priestess. History forgets her name, but the spiral does not. Another thread. A young monk in Bohemia refuses to sleep. He believes the devil speaks through dreams. He drinks vinegar, ties bells to his wrists, plunges his feet into icy water. Still sleep comes, and when it does, he sees a tower made of glass, filled with voices, not screaming, just waiting. He never tells anyone, but in his final days, he builds a chapel shaped like a spiral. The locals never enter, but birds nest inside. And one night, a dying child dreams she's flying through it. She wakes laughing. The monk dies peacefully. His last words, let the dream speak first. Thread after thread, you listen. You're not reading, you're remembering, because somehow all of these dreams lived in you. Or maybe you lived in them. You feel the threads tightening, twisting, forming a shape, a new spiral, one you've never seen before. You follow it, not down, not up, inward, and in its center a door, made of dreamwood, that soft material born only from memory. And what could have been? You reach for the handle, pulses, a question hangs in the air. Do you want to wake up? And you realize you haven't thought about waking in a long, long time. But you answer, not yet. The door opens. Inside is a child, alone, shivering, holding a candle that never goes out. They look up at you, blinking slowly. You kneel, ask no questions, just offer your hand. And they take it. The candle flares. The child smiles. And behind you, the threads begin to sing. 1,000 voices in harmony. Some human, some not, but all of them true. The spiral has become something new. Not just a dream, not just a message, but a chorus. And you are its first note. The song follows you now, not like a melody, more like a temperature, a warmth behind your ribs, curling softly beneath each breath. It doesn't ask to be remembered. It simply is. And in its presence, the world bends. Not drastically, not loudly, but gently, like a page turning on its own. You walk with the child, though you've stopped wondering where the road leads, because the road doesn't lead anymore. It listens and builds itself beneath your steps. Each footprint leaves a faint spiral behind, glowing briefly before vanishing. Not gone, just archived, The landscape around you is shifting too. Villages now build dream wards, not according to rivers or soil, but according to what people see in their sleep. One town forms in the exact shape of a ladder, another a spiral that never connects. A third vanishes every seventh night and returns smelling faintly of lavender and beeswax. No one questions this anymore. Why would they? When the dreams become truth, truth becomes obedient. The child speaks rarely, but when they do, it stills the world. Like this, I think I used to be a door. You nod. That makes sense. They smile, and the candle in their hand flickers with 1,000 shadows. One night you enter a field of glass. Tall blades, every one carved with a sleep someone forgot. Touch one, and the dream returns. Touch two, and you begin to blur. Touch three, you don't. The child takes your hand, whispers, "Not yet." You understand. You're not done witnessing. Not until every dream has found its way. To a voice, to a place, to a bed. And then, a new structure rises on the horizon. It wasn't there yesterday. You know this because yesterday didn't exist. Not anymore. It's not a monastery, not a temple, not a village. It's a nest, spiral-shaped, woven from thread, bone, and breath. Inside it, dozens of sleepers, all curled in silence. None of them have names, because names are too small now. You and the child walk between them. No one stirs, but their dreams do. You see them hovering just above their bodies, like steam from warm skin. One dream hums in Latin, another pulses in starlight, a third weeps ink, and all of them spiral. You feel the song rising again, but now it's your voice at the center, not narrating, not leading, just carrying, like a thread woven through the mouth of sleep. And then the child turns to you. For the first time, their eyes are wet. "You'll have to leave me here." You nod, though it tears something loose inside you. But you understand. The child is not a child. They are the next keeper, the next voice, the next door. They step into the center of the nest. The candle becomes a sun, and the sleepers begin to dream in unison. Their breaths harmonize. The nest pulses, and from somewhere far beyond it, you hear the first new spiral forming. It has a different rhythm, a different voice, a different purpose, and it doesn't need you, because you were never the spiral. You were just its beginning. Now it has become itself, and you are ready to walk again. You walk alone again, but this time, it doesn't feel like loss. It feels like a pause between breaths, the kind of silence that comes not from absence, but from completion. Each step is quieter now, not because you weigh less, but because the world has learned to carry you, as if the ground beneath your feet has started to remember you. You come to a place with no name, just a wall, black stone, curved like a rib cage. At first, it seems solid, but when you place your hand on it, you hear a heartbeat, slow, deliberate. You lean in, and the wall inhales you, not violently, not cruelly, like a memory welcoming itself home. Inside, nothing. No torches, no stars, no air. Only a spiral, floating in the dark. Not drawn, not carved, just there, made entirely of questions. Each one spinning slowly, like petals in still water. You drift toward it. You don't need legs here, just will. As you near, the questions become clearer. What dream was never dreamt? When does a whisper become a truth? Who first taught fear to speak in riddles? What sleeps inside sleep? You don't answer. The spiral doesn't want answers. It wants company. You move to its center, and there, hovering in the absolute stillness, a box. You've seen one like it before. Dreamwood, unlatchable, unopenable, except this one is already open. Inside a single item, your own name, not spoken, not written, just present, shaped like breath, folded into a coil, still warm. You reach for it, and the moment your fingers touch, you're not in the spiral anymore. You're in your own first dream, not the first you remember, the true first, a cradle made of wool and thunder, hands that held you, a lullaby hummed by someone you never met but always knew, the scent of milk, ash, and future. You're small again, soft, forgettable, but in that forgetting, there's peace, because now you understand. Every dream you carried, every spiral you walked, every voice you echoed, they were all fragments of this, the primal hush, the root, the beginning of all sleep. And as you lie back, eyes half closed, a single thought settles behind your brow. It never ends. Does it? No one answers, but the silence smiles. You wake, not in the world, but in a space between names, the place where the spiral was born. It's not made of anything, just potential, raw, endless, kind. You do not speak. There is no you here, just a softness, made of everything you've ever been, and everything you no longer need to be. And in that moment, the spiral turns once more, not for you, not from you, but through you, and it keeps turning. Even now, even still, something shifts, not in the spiral, not in the dream, in you. It's not pain, not fear. It's like waking up and realizing the sun has already risen, and you missed the moment it crested the horizon. But somehow, you were part of its rising anyway, a warmth behind your sternum, a weight lifted that you didn't know you carried, a quiet so vast, it hums. You are back, somewhere, on your feet, in a body, but not quite the one you remember. You are taller in memory, smaller in spirit, lighter in bone. The world around you is still, but not silent. You hear breathing, not just yours, thousands, millions. A sleeping world, a dreaming world, and at its center, not you, but the echo you left behind, speaks now, not with voice, but with shape. Every spiral drawn by a child, every circle carved into bread, every curl of incense in a cloister at dusk. That's you. That's the after you. And you smile, not from pride, from recognition. You begin to walk. Again, always. But this walk is different. You don't choose the path. Chooses you. A path carved not through space, but through memory. Each step opens a doorway into a dream you forgot to remember. A boy whispers to the moon and it whispers back. A nun buries a lock of hair that sings in her sleep. A king fears a shadow he's never seen, but draws it nightly in the margin of his edicts. And you pass through them all, not touching, just witnessing, just blessing, because that's what your presence is now. A blessing too soft to notice, but too deep to ignore. At the edge of this path, you find the last spiral, not the end, just the final one you were meant to see. It's different, not stone, not ink, not dream. It's made of names, stacked, woven, spoken. Every person you ever passed, every dreamer who ever brushed against your story, they are all here, and they are singing, low, gentle, one long, uninterrupted hum. It vibrates through you, and in the center of the spiral, a bed, plain, worn, soft, waiting, not for sleep, for arrival. You step into the spiral. Each name bows, folding into mist. You lie down, not to rest, not to sleep, to remember, and memory floods in, not as images, not as words, as feeling. The warmth of a candle held too long, the thrill of an unread book in your lap, the hush of snowfall outside a monastery window. All the things you never said and never needed to, they gather now, around you, above you, inside you. You are ready, not to end, not to rise, to become, because sleep isn't the opposite of life. It is its echo, and dreams are the only language. The soul never forgets. The spiral opens, not outward, not inward, simply softens, as if all this time it had been holding its breath. And now, finally, it exhales, and in that breath, you dissolve, not vanish, not fade. You become ambient, like warmth, like music with no beginning, like the silence just after a lullaby ends. You are still lying in the bed at the center of names, but now the bed lies inside you, because you are no longer just one being. You are every monk who ever dreamed of the stars. You are the candle on the window ledge that refused to go out. You are the child who said, "I think I used to be a door," and meant it. You are the spiral, not as a pattern, not as a symbol, as a gesture, a reaching, turning, a return. The world is dreaming you now. Someone in 1342 is carving your name into the base of a bell tower. A shepherd hears your voice in the wind between rocks. A nun sees your eyes in the swirl of cream on her porridge. A dying prince whispers your story to his horses. You've become myth, but not the loud kind, the kind that survives in dust, in sighs, in breath caught between words. You are a story no one finishes, because it tells itself differently each time, and it always ends the same way, with someone pausing at the edge of sleep and wondering, what if this dream means something? And you, gently, invisibly, whisper back, it always did. Above you the sky folds, not with stars, with eyes, some open, some closed, all dreaming, and they are not watching you. They are watching with you. You are no longer the keeper, no longer the voice. You are the hush that makes room for the voice, the stillness that lets the dream shape itself. And that is enough, more than enough. The spiral does not end here. It continues in ink and fire, in bread and shadow, in lullabies hummed by people who don't know your name, but feel your rhythm in the bones of the night. And now, you are ready to rest, not because the story is finished, but because it doesn't need you to finish it. It only needed you to carry it this far. And you did. You carried it in your feet, in your breath, in your voice, and now carries you. So let go. Let the spiral turn without you. Let the next dreamer step in. Let the song fade to one long, soft note. The lights dim, the candle lowers, the breath evens, and the world hushes itself around your name, not to forget it, but to remember it gently. You were here. You dreamed well. You whispered truth wrapped in riddles. You made sleep sacred again. And now it's time to drift. Soft, slow, silent. The spiral turns. The world exhales. And you fall into the kindest dark. Hush now. Sleep, sleep, sleep.